Good evening, everyone. I'm going to just uh, get started a little early so everyone can find their way in. Say hello. I hope you are all doing well this evening. You're just so if you're just coming in, hi Shalana. Shalana, could you do me a big favor? So when I set this all up tonight, it was being so weird. It was being so weird. Can you just go and see quick if this is streaming to my YouTube channel and Facebook and stuff? Because when I set it all up, it was giving me a hard time about things and asking me like to log in to places it's never asked me to log in before. So the fact that you're here in the chat talking to me, at least that makes me super happy because it means it's streaming somewhere. I'm just not sure it's streaming everywhere because it was acting super weird. Very funny today when I went and got it. Okay, so show of hands, who's been over to the website and seen the new release and all the adorable Winnie the Pooh stuff? So much. All the honeybee stuff. Yes, Margie said, I love Winnie the Pooh. So excited. Yes, isn't it beautiful? It's like the best. So my kind of like big Winnie the Pooh order has not gotten to me yet. I have, so from the new release, we're just going to play with this one stamp set, but I have so much more of the release on its way to me, and those will be the focus of the lives like going in. But tonight, we're going to mix the See the Sunshine stamp set with some other products just in the shop. Okay, thank you, Sandy. So Sandy's on YouTube, probably the Brutus Monroe channel. Good. Okay, so it is coming through. At least it's going to the Brutus Monroe thing because I don't think it's streaming to my channel. It's supposed to, but I don't think it is. And so be it. As long as it's streaming to the Brutus Monroe stuff, that makes me happy. Thank you. Thank you, Shalana. That is a huge weight off my shoulders because it was just the program that we used to stream different places was just acting all wonky, and it was like I was like, oh no, but we're good. Okay. So tonight's bundle is this See the Sunshine stamp set, which is one of the new Winnie the Pooh stamp sets. It's so gorgeous. And we're going to mix it with some other products from the shop. And we are going to do some fun kind of painting watercolor technique tonight. So we're going to have like just a really kind of like calm live tonight. So this See the Sunshine stamp set says, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. That's actually the sentiment we're going to do for tonight. I love this sentiment. The second one says, I will brave the storm with you. The third one says, thank you for helping me see the sunshine after the storm. I love all three of the sentiments and this fun, beautiful little image. So that's the new Winnie the Pooh stamp set that we are going to be checking out and using tonight, but there are so many more. This whole release is just phenomenal. So with the bundle tonight and the products we're going to use to make our card, we have alabaster cardstock and card bases. We're going to do some embossing. So we have gilded embossing powder and clear embossing ink. The vintage plaid paper collection, which has some beautiful, like really fun patterns that I think work really, really well with like all the colors in Winnie the Pooh. And this is the one that's going to surprise everybody. So included in this bundle are 3 chroma mists. There's Bark, Daffodil. I just want to make sure I'm getting the names right. And Magnolia. And at first, if you've played with these products, you might be a little bit like, what? What are we going to do with these? Oh, we are going to have fun with these tonight. And I'm going to show you how to use them in a really unique way to get a nice, lovely, soft look on your projects. So let's get started. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you guys for checking on that for me. I really appreciate it. Sometimes the technology just doesn't do what it's supposed to. I don't know what's up. And what really gets me is when you know how something works and you know how something's supposed to go, and then it just like changes, like they update it or do something funky. This is a brand new bag. This is a brand new package of alabaster cardstock. Because I used it all. So this is alabaster cardstock, which is 100-pound weight cardstock. So it's nice and thick. We're actually going to use quite a bit of water on this. So if you have another kind of favorite watercolor cardstock, we're going to use the alabaster. It'll hold up perfectly, no problem. If you can, the reason I'm not using, say, the watercolor cardstock is because I want crisp, clean stamped images, and the watercolor, the aqua pigment like watercolor cardstock always has that tooth or a little bit of that kind of texture to it, and I don't want that. Yes, isn't that stamp amazing? Hello, Nikki. Hello, Donna. So for our base tonight, we're going to go ahead and use the alabaster, and we're going to work on this for like the majority of our project tonight. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. And this is going to be a card that you can use, that you can make in an hour or less. I have no, by the magic of TV, work ahead. I've been doing that a lot with, I've been not needing that step for a couple of our last couple of projects. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the placement for our image and our sentiment. I'm going to use my Misty to do that. And we're actually going to heat emboss our sentiment before we stamp our image. So for those of you who might be scrapbookers and join me today, hi, Karen. I just saw your message. I hope you all had a wonderful National Scrapbook Day. So I am taking both of these stamps and I'm just going to center them onto my cardstock. And I'm leaving some space in between them because overall, this particular project is very simple. This card on its own, it's beautiful, but it's also kind of elegant and it has that more simple look to it. So when I designed it, I did design it so that everything isn't squished together. It kind of has this kind of airy feel to it, which I really like. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get this centered. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up my image because we're not going to do anything with that just yet. We're going to go ahead and get the sentiment heat embossed as well. And yes, I know that then I'll have to put my image back down, but it'll be easy to center underneath there without a problem. Hello, Miss Heather. I'm so happy you're here tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my sentiment stamp, and I'm also going to grab my magic powder tool, and I'm just going to, this will make sure that our embossing is only going to go where we want it to go. I'm going to stamp this a couple of times because I want to get really nice, crisp image for our sentiment. Hi, Jamie. So happy to have you join us tonight. I'm just going to give this a good push down. If you ever stamp with embossing powder and you're like, did I do it right? You can always put it up to a light and just kind of go like this, and you'll be able to see exactly where you stamped. So let me grab some paper. And this embossing ink stays nice and wet for a long time. Another added bonus. Okay. There we go. We're also going to do some edging with our embossing powder. So I'm going to use that. And I just use an old clothespin. Sandy said, I love Burgess Monroe embossing powder. It's the best. Yes, agreed. It really is. Okay. So I also want to do an edge. And for that, I'm going to need the mixed media embossing pad. What I'm going to do is I'm taking my cardstock, the embossing pad, and I am just pushing it right into the edge. So just a little bit. If you want something that is thicker, like if you want more of the embossing powder on the edge, that is to your discretion. But I just like the look when you just push the paper into the very edge of your ink pad. Hi, Kate. Sandy says gilded raven and alabaster embossing powder are must-haves. So I also think that another one you could add to that is icicle. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to give it a little. And you'll see when I hit this with the heat tool, it will give all of these edges this gold. I have to do it this way. Okay. So you'll see here, it's really, hope the light catches it. It's really subtle, but so elegant. And when we finish our card off and put this down on the paper, on our pattern paper, it will just finish the edges beautifully. It'll look, it'll just have that nice finished look to it. That's the best way I can describe it. Sandy said, I generally thought of you recently when I used my not pretty mixed media embossing ink. Yes, I always say that every time we emboss on here. I'm like, you need two. One to be pristine for stamps and one to look like someone chewed on it for mixed media. Icicle is one of my favorites because it's just, I love it for mixed media techniques. It just gives everything that real pretty look. Okay, so now it's time to do our coloring. I am going to use Stick and Stamp Pigment Palette. Again, we use this like every week, right? It's my favorite. And I've said this 100 times. I have like 4 of them. And then I have some water in a cup, in a paint cup, and I have all of the teeny tiny brushes. So teeny tiny brushes, whatever you have, whichever ones you love. I have multiples. You just need some teeny tiny brushes, some water, your 3 chroma mist, and we're also going to stamp this image using some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. And place this down in here. So we are, if you've ever no-lined watercoloring, we are sort of no-line watercoloring, but not really. Because usually when you no-line watercolor, you do it with the antique linen, and then it just kind of disappears. But we're gonna actually, we want some of the sepia tones from the Distress Oxide ink. We want some of those brown kind of sepia tones because we want this to look a little vintage and have that look to it. And stamp that. I am going to do this. I want it to dry a little bit, but I don't want to hit it with my heat tool because I don't want to end up burning the paper. Ask me how I know that can happen. Hi, Laura. Oh, I'm so glad to have you come and join us. That's awesome. So I'm just going to like let it dry a little bit. So lovely to have you. So there's our image. Now we're going to color it with the Chroma Mist. So here's how we do that. I'm going to start with the bark. It doesn't matter what you start with. I'm going to start with the bark. So I'm going to do like this bottom piece and all of this area with the bark. Then we're going to do Winnie the Pooh with the daffodil. And then we're going to do Piglet with. So if anybody on here, just out of curiosity, if anyone here is good with Apple, I apparently had my computer iPhone apparently has a setting somewhere so that the camera is trying to like follow my movements, and it like goes in and out and does all kinds of weird, funky stuff. And I cannot figure out where the setting is or how to change it. So if any of you know where that setting is, or feel free to send me a private message, comment here. I'm good because I don't know, and it's really, really bugging me. Okay, so one spray with the Bark Chroma Mist onto the pigment palette. And then I'm just going to dip my brush into the water, get my brush really good and wet. And I'm just going to add some water and pull it out until I have kind of like the color that I want. But and if you only need a wee, like the tiniest little bit of the Chroma Mist. So if you know how to get a smaller amount out of the bottle, go for it, because you really just need the smallest little bit of the Chroma Mist. But that's why I said one squirt. Just one. Okay. And then we're just going to go in here. Yeah. In here. Now, I did get, I don't know if you saw this or not, I got a little splatter right up there at the top. And I'm determined not to worry about it, and that I'm just going to come back in and make it a part of the card design when we're all finished. So the pigment, it will smudge. The Chroma Mist will smudge the vintage photo ink, right? I love that look. I think it makes it look like dreamy. Those edges are kind of just a little bit smudged, and I love it. If that's something you don't like, you can go ahead and you could stamp this with black ink and then let it thoroughly dry. You could stamp it with like a brown ink that's waterproof when it's dry. That would certainly work. But if you look, like I'm going to show you. You can see if you see this area where you can see all the different colors and there's like lights and darks. That's because the water is reacting to the vintage photo ink. So you get a little bit of the bark, which is a darker brown, but then you also get that kind of sepia tone from the vintage photo distress oxide ink, and they kind of blend and move and create all kinds of fun and interesting effects. And as we go through all of the different elements on our stamp set, you're going to find that that will happen with all of it. So with the when we go and do Winnie the Pooh, he's going to have all those different kind of shades of looks and lights and dark areas because of the interaction. And yeah, all the different things we're going to do. I'm going to switch my brush. Oh, the joys of doing something live on camera. I did get my little card panel right there. We're going to have to, I don't know, we'll splatter or do something over there. Looks like a good place to splatter. So I'm going to grab this one now. So this is just a thinner brush because I want to color in the little leaves. Yeah, I agree, Amanda. Hold on, I'm going to catch up. Sean and I were just talking about that yesterday. Oh. I agree, Amanda. It's a creative opportunity. Sandy asks, do you prefer oxide versus regular distress oxide for no line watercolor? So I prefer oxide. In fact, I prefer oxide for all, for everything. I actually got rid of all of my regular distress inks and don't use them. I prefer the oxide for everything. Okay. So there's our brown. And now we're going to come and do Winnie the Pooh. I also use, so if I want something lighter, like I feel like oxides have that chalky kind of heavy pigmented look to them. If I want something that is very, very light and very, very subtle, I have a full collection of just dye inks that I use for all of my stamping and stuff. And I feel like those work just fine when I want something that's real subtle. But when for distress techniques and for things that where you want to use that, I really, really prefer just the oxides. Sean's comment was about the camera setting. Wait, I didn't see Sean's comment. Oh, Sandy, that's you guys were talking about the camera settings. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. I gotta figure out what on earth, where that setting is, what it is, and how I can turn it off. Okay. So again, loaded my brush up with water, one spray of daffodil ink, and you can see here like how kind of bright that is. But when I add it to Winnie the Pooh here, and that yellow is going to kind of mix in with the vintage photo oxide, and then it's going to become like the perfect Winnie the Pooh brown. It's wild. Winnie the Pooh yellow, I should say. And then it's going to come in and it's just going to come in here. I'll grab different brush. This is why I grabbed like all of my brushes, because when I watercolor, I really tend to want certain brushes for certain things. And then I tend to kind of go through and this brush and then that brush and then this brush and then that brush. So this is going to be a very quiet live. Usually if I'm painting for a live, it does end up being a quiet live. For some reason, I can't chit chat and paint. I don't know why. It's like I get all like involved. There we go. So there's our Winnie the Pooh all done. Sandy, if Sean figured out where the setting is, send it to me. Oh my goodness. It's driving me crazy. Okay. So here is the magnolia. And again, I'm going to spray it on here and you're going to go, because when you spray it on here, it almost looks neon. But then when you add the water, we get this like perfect piglet color. See? It's like neon. Wild. Yeah, I agree, Amanda. We're quiet when we focus on what we're doing. Yep. But I feel like it makes for a boring live, so I don't always do one like this, but this just seemed, this was too good. This stamp and this gorgeous image, it was too good not to watercolor. So that's what we're doing. So when I load up my water, when I load up my brush with water and add it to this, see how we get that perfect pink? There's that perfect piglet pink. So Piglet's interesting when you color him because what I'm going to do is, and I forgot to grab it. I want to, there's a lot of water here on Piglet, and I want to soak some of it up. I'm just going to take my little microfiber cloth and dab. So I'm dabbing away some of the pink, but then it's also going to dab away some of the vintage photo, which is going to give us an opportunity to drop some more of the pink in there so that he comes out not neon pink, but not brown. Piglet is the hardest part of this whole card. Getting him just the right pink. Not too brown, but not neon. And when I was playing with it, I found that the best way to do that was to add more than one layer. So add a layer of pink and then kind of dab it up a little bit and then add another layer of pink. And then you can see here, he comes out perfectly pink. Ta-da! Sandy says watercolor is the skill I want to work on, and Amanda said I'm afraid of watercolor. So this is very interesting. Oh, yeah, watercolor. I will say that it is something to practice. And I will also say it's not the easiest. Like once you get the hang of it, then you're like, how can everybody not do this, right? But I also get the fact that it's not that easy. So my best advice is remember that keep some dry paper towels handy or Q-tips, right? And then if you're watercoloring and you're like, oh, that's too much water, take that little bit of Q-tip or that little bit of paper towel, or like I just did with the microfiber cloth, like just that little bit, and soak it up. And you will be amazed at how much that will take up. Like just that putting something dry right there, it goes and it soaks it up. And then it's like, oh, okay. So if you get too much water, that would be my biggest advice. Just soak it up. You'll be okay. Okay, let's figure out this. So I'm going to go ahead and do like a splatter, but I'm going to just do a little bit here and a little bit over here, I think, because I really don't want to get anything like in this area. And in fact, what I just did there where I covered over the image, we're definitely going to do that. Okay. So get this moving real good. So I'm just going to take my hand and go like this, right? And then we'll just do a couple little splatters. Need a little bit more water for a couple little ones. Man splatters were not so good. This is why I have trouble with the Aqua Splash too. Like, It's like I don't get enough of the liquid on my brush or something. I don't know. You can do a couple over here. There we go. And then we'll just lay this up here and let it dry. Just walk away. That looks cute. Okay, so I put those splatters, and now that they're drying, they create this lovely, you'll see in a second, they create this lovely kind of diagonal line, and that's good. Okay. So let's put the messy stuff away. We'll just toss those up there for another day. Pop this away. Is Heather still here? Penny's not here tonight. I know that. So I'm on my own, which is good. So it's a very good thing that I didn't have to do anything with the magic of TV. Okay, let's talk about these papers. So this is the Vintage Plaid paper collection. It is. Dunn says, good job hiding the oops. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how that little dot like even showed up. But you know what? We're going to go with it. What is that saying? I think it was the one Amanda was saying earlier, that it's an opportunity for embellishment. Okay. So in case you haven't noticed, I sort of love the Vintage Plaid paper pad. This is mine, and I have used it for lots of things. So this is the paper that we're going to use tonight for our card, because I just really, really love how this yellowy, orange, and blue kind of set off the gold and the watercoloring. And this is the other side, which could also work really well. And I'll go ahead and kind of flip through all of these different papers so that you know exactly what's in here. This is just one of those kind of super versatile type of paper pads. I think this is the second time we've done them in one of my Make It Monday bundles. We also did one where, if you go back to like the first one, when I made a donut card, and we used all these pretty plaids too. And I think there might be a couple more patterns in this that I've already used all of, because this is one of my favorite paper collections. Another thing that this paper collection does amazing is if you have fall cards and you cut them, die cut this paper pad with a leaf die, and then do like a dip so that maybe just the top half of the leaf or the bottom half of the leaf is coated with the gilded embossing powder. So pretty. One of my favorite things to do. Amanda says she doesn't have that plaid yet. Oh, this is such a good one. This plaid is, I love this vintage plaid paper pad. It's so good. Okay, so this is going to be cut. We're going to do a whole card panel. So this is going to be cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. There we go. You know when I think the paper pad is a good one? When I keep all the tiny little scraps. Okay, so I also think we need, so I'm just taking a look here. So we have our little drops, but what if, do you guys also think that we could use, let me see if I can get it to work. So I have here the Gilded Shimmer Splash, dare I? And I don't know if this is still available in the shop, so I apologize, but this needs some more gold, and we have to fix this. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a good, we're gonna try this. If you haven't been around here for a while, like if you've never, I am not good with the splatters. Just not. Especially, I can't splatter to save my life. But we're gonna try because I really want some gold on this line. So I'm gonna cover this pattern paper. I use the pattern paper to kind of cover up my stamped image because I don't want anything on that. And then let's see if we can do it. Everybody give me like a big, you got this. Let's get it in here. Oh, we got some splatters. Just a couple. We just need a couple. We got to reinforce that gold a little bit because we have it on the edges and we have it on the embossing, and then to not have it on this diagonal line, I think would look super strange. Okay. Well, let me do this. There. I feel like I'm not getting it. There we go. Mm. There. That works. We did it. Okay. We're just going to give that like a beat to dry. And then we'll go ahead, get all that up. That will look much better. So I don't know if you can see or not, but we have, now it looks much more integrated. Like our little oopsie looks much more intentional, which is the way we want it. So if tonight has taught you anything, us crafters that do lives, we're crafters. We're just like anybody else. We splatter things we don't mean to splatter accidentally. We do all the things that everybody else does. We make all the same oopsies, and we just have to fix them up from there. All right. Where is my color faces? Ta-da! There we go. So next week, we're going to work with the honeybee stuff again, but we're going to do a shaker with some of the brand new chipboard because I love chipboard. Well, I love We're Just Gonna Wear chipboard. Let me put it that way. So we're gonna do some Lovely. I'm gonna make a little shaker. Get this on our card base, and our card's all finished. Yay. And there we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by tonight, for watching me create this little watercolor card. Oh, Amanda, I'm so glad. Amanda said she shook up some red spray this morning and it leaked all over her hand, but fortunately it missed all of her paper products. See? See, that's good. I've had that happen too. I've also, and this, oh, this is the worst. When you're inking something and you get the ink on your fingers and you don't realize it, and then you go and touch something. That's the worst. So here is our finished card. Oopsies and all. But it does look better. So we have this diagonal, our oopsies up here, and then we have this diagonal splatter. And then I added the gold, which kind of pulled it all together. So I really like that. That worked really well. So cute. Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you, Amanda. I love Pooh too, Kate. I'm so excited for like the rest of the new stuff to come. Those stamp sets are amazing. If you have not checked out that release yet, run, because I feel like it's going to sell out pretty quickly. All right, everyone. You all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. If you are interested in any of the new Winnie the Pooh products, the new Honeybee products, the bundle for tonight that gives you all the products you need to make the card that we made together. There is a link in the description box that is an affiliate link. So if you use the link and place an order, it helps Brutus Monroe to know that I sent you to the shop. And I also can earn a little bit of a commission off your order. So that's awesome. Thank you, Shalana. Thank you, Laura. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. And I will talk to you again soon. Oh, you're very welcome, Amanda. I am so glad you joined us tonight. All right, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.